Thank you, madam, for your indulgence. Shri Kumar Ketkar ji, a very dear friend also, I can call him an elder brother. And since all of us come from Maharashtra, I think there's a special bond between Kumar ji, Mulay ji, and I think I can be a part of the Maharashtrian clique that we have here now. But truly delighted to be a part of the launch of the book written by Dnyaneshwar Mulay ji, The Passport Man of India. And when I was first invited for this program, I was recalling the first time when I met Mr. Mulay, when he was the Consul General for the country in New York, around 2014. And I could sense that this was not an ordinary person, not just another civil servant doing a job, but somebody with a far deeper commitment to the work that he was doing. It's a matter of satisfaction that we have government servants who are willing to share their experiences, which are not only insightful but also a good source of encouragement or motivation for others, particularly the next generation, the youngsters who are aspiring for high office, who are aspiring to become politicians, senior bureaucrats, officials, get into government, take the UPSC exam. And his own story is particularly fascinating when you see that he, in some sense, does reflect that gypsy about which he has written earlier. A person who went to school without slippers. A person born in a humble family of a farmer or with a tailoring background, if I'm not mistaken. But was able to unshackle the past, was able to cross the Rubicon and venture into, at that point of time, and I'm looking back, 40 years, it must have been a completely different way of thinking, way of living in those villages in Kolhapur, around Kolhapur. I can't even imagine what kind of trials and tribulations that young man, Dnyaneshwar, at that point of time, and look at the appropriateness of the name also. Parents ने बड़ा सोच समझ के नाम दिया. And he decides to write about it. In fact, for me, it's the second time I'm releasing a book, or I'm part of a book release function of a sitting bureaucrat. I had the privilege of releasing Balwinder Kumar's book, who used to be Secretary Mines with me. And I'm quite happy that all of you are looking at sharing your life's experiences with all of us and helping us understand what your work entails. I mean, we've had enough autobiographies of politicians and leaders from the public space. But I think what a bureaucrat goes through in his life is something which also gives us a lot of food for thought, and I hope will help also improve the way opportunities are provided through the length and breadth of the country to every section of society to participate in these exams, to excel in these exams, to work in government, and then, of course, excel in government also. Actually, I don't know whether the foreign service was truly your calling, because a sensitive person like you would probably have been great working in the villages of India, working for the betterment of sections of society in India who have for so many years suffered. But at the same time, I'm sure in foreign service, your experiences, and that's where the gypsy comes in. The gypsy in you probably came out in your work. And the fact that today you are overseeing 200 new passport offices being opened. So in some sense, that is also the service which will go to the remotest corners of India, where getting a passport was almost a luxury. But with your efforts, with the efforts of Sushma Swaraj, will become available to the commonest man in such a simple fashion, almost at his doorstep. Of course, your quest for learning also gets reflected in this book. I think this continuous desire to reinvent yourself, to look beyond the ordinary, to see what more can be done. And therefore, this work that you are carrying out and the work that you are showing us a little insight in will probably help policymakers in the future to see how small interventions can have a deep impact on society or can have a deep impact on the future of the country. And in this globalized world, I think a passport is the very least that we can ensure is available to everybody comfortably. And we have millions of our brothers and sisters who are traveling abroad for work. We have millions who are traveling abroad as tourists. We have millions who have settled down in other parts of the world but continue to have an Indian passport. They are proud Indian citizens and working for a better future for all of them. I think is a great public service that Mulay ji is working on. His earlier book, The Gypsy Learned to Fly, was also quite autobiographical. It also gave insights into his rise from those humble background to his current position where he's amongst the top bureaucrats in the country. And in some sense also helps us understand the strength of India's democracy. A democracy where all of us have opportunities. Maybe some get privileges, maybe some have adversities, but opportunities are there for all. It's that extra effort that we will all have to do to grab those opportunities. And I think stories like his own journey from Mati to Akash, as he's called it, will certainly encourage particularly the younger generation. It will encourage all of us to do our job better, to do our job more focused on the poorest of the poor. And I do hope that we can give this gift to every citizen of the country, the gift of equality, the gift of equal opportunity, the gift of respect, the gift of care and concern, particularly to the lesser privileged, and the gift of a bright and a better future, a good quality of life, something which resonates very closely with Prime Minister Modi's dream of a new India, an India where everybody has shelter on his head, where every citizen gets electricity in his home, gets good quality drinking water in his home, has a toilet in his home, has access or connectivity with technology, with digital world, with mobile, with road connectivity, in my sphere of work with rail connectivity, where every citizen gets access to quality healthcare, quality education. Thus, this equal opportunity will help empower every man and woman to serve his country, to serve his motherland, and as Mr. Mulay has done, be a good son of the soil, a son of the soil that the nation can be proud of. Thank you.